Hi guys, it's Keisha Henry with New Beginning Healing Institute and author of Healing of the Heart, Lessons from My Journey, Selected Prose and Poetry. So I have been MIA for the last week or two, and I know that you've been probably looking to see where is this Amazon link, where is the full launch, what happened to the podcast. So this is an update video. And so before I get into giving you updates on those 3 points I had just mentioned, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for those of you who have been so gracious to read the manuscript. That in and of itself, I'm sure, was labor intensive. So thank you. Those of you who are watching, you know who you are. And I want to thank also, and also for waiting on your books, ladies, for doing that. And also to those persons who have gone ahead and pre-ordered, having read the prelude to the book or have read different parts of the book that's on the website, and it has really caused you to see the benefit of the book. Thank you for those who have ordered and you're waiting on your book, and also your Woman of Abundance t-shirt. So my first thing I want to do is just to express my true gratitude for all of that. That's an investment back into my life and the work that I do and to the New Beginning Healing Institute community. All right, so let's get to it, right? You're probably wondering, what's this setback all about? Well, before I talk about the setback, because you need to know what really happened, obviously I'm going to summarize what happened and not get into specific details. But essentially, this is what happens when you're trying to do the right thing, when you're trying to push your passion forward, when you're trying to do something that has meaning or that's meaningful not only to yourself, but realizing that this meaning is much bigger than yourself and it's really for others. You know what happens? Setbacks. That's exactly right. Setbacks that they come to almost annihilate you, almost to bury you. And I'm gonna tell you something too, setbacks create a lot of doubt, self-doubt, and those are things that I experienced in the last 2 weeks with the book. There are some details of the book that was not published in the book, and so therefore the book cannot be fully released. There's some things that were missed. And for the professional persons who were handling this did not take care of those things. So my setbacks really tried to muzzle me, if you will. And yes, I was in a space where I was not even sure if I really wanted to move forward with this. But then I have my colleagues who reminded me, this work is much bigger than you. This book is much more than you. And there are a lot of persons who this is really intended for, and it needs to get to them. And so, yeah, my setback. And you know, it's so funny. Typically, I would throw in a quote here about something like that. But when I was going through this setback, I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but I remember this particular scripture. Yes, I did say scripture in the Bible. So let me just pause here. I'm very aware, uniquely aware of the audience who listens to me. So I know some persons are not from a spiritual community that that I associate with, so I get it. So if this part is not for you, then okay, I respect that, and I expect that you will move on throughout the video or throughout this talk. But for those who can connect with me, then here's what I will say, and it's from 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 36. It says, "Thou fool, that which thou sowest is not quickened except it die." And verse 37 says, "And that which thou sowest not that body that shall be, but bear grain. It may chance of wheat or some other grain." And this scripture was a reminder for me that even though things will come when you're trying to do something meaningful, things will come to bury you and try to keep you from moving forward. It's okay. It's okay to be buried, because you know what? You're only going to grow once it gets into the ground. So I was in the ground for the last 2 weeks with this situation. It caused me such a great setback, and it caused me a lot of self-doubt, and it caused me to really, really feel and think about, is this something that I really want to get through and get done? And that scripture reminded me that yes, it's okay to get buried. It's okay to have a setback, because in those moments, that's when you really grow. And who knows what else will come from that once you start growing. So what else has come from that is that this book, here we go. Yay! 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 Yes, here it is finally, right? This will be republished. It's going to be republished it's going to be polished, right? And I'm actually now going to be with a more international publisher by the name of Ingram Publishers. And so this book will not only just be local, but it'll be international. So what am I saying here? Bear with me with my new publisher. I am told that everything will be packaged and ready by mid to the last week in October. And that way I'll have multiple copies for the book signing and for those persons who have already, put in their pre-order. And so, here I'm thinking that, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? How is this gonna turn out? Oh my goodness. So here's another grain that flourished, that emerged, right, from this whole setback. So I'm gonna wrap this up. It's been 5 minutes or more. I'm gonna wrap this up. So here is the first go around, the first draft, if you will. So it's on hold until the mid-October or last week in October, where all final copies will be ready. So that's the update, And so thank you again for listening. Thank you for being patient with me. And again, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're doing something meaningful and you're experiencing setbacks and persons are trying to bury you, or people are just things coming out the woodworks, just remember that it has to get into the ground. It has to quicken. Something has to happen. So when these things happen to you or come against you or come up against you, don't be alarmed. That's just part of the process. It has to happen. So thank you for watching. And again, within another couple of weeks, I'll give another update. And also podcast, I forgot. So that's the third point to the podcast. So the next podcast is going to be on not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. I believe that is October 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I'll send out social media posts with specific date and time again and the topic for the next podcast. So thank you for watching. Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you soon. And by the way, we're having our women's group tonight. If you're watching this video right now, can't wait to see you guys. You're also going to see updates about our women's group and the topics and the weekly progress of those groups. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.